Hello, Brooklyn. My name is David Allen, and I'm going to tell you about some of the experiences I've had with racism in America. A few months after I came to America, I came when I was 18, I went to an employment agency to apply for a job. While I was at the counter waiting for an application form, the man behind the counter was on the phone, and he was telling somebody on the other end of the line, if the quota calls for no blacks, I can't send them any blacks. I understood what that meant. It meant that the companies were using employment agencies to filter out black applicants so that black applicants weren't in their employment pool. So they didn't even have to reject black applicants themselves because the employment agency already rejected them, so that the only applicants that reached them were white applicants. A few months after that, I became a disciple, and then a few months after that, I was on my way to the Bronx, to Fordham, to talk to them about financial aid. And at the time, you had to go to 34th Street and then transfer on a train to another train to go to the Bronx. So at 34th Street, I climbed up on the mezzanine. There was a performance going on the mezzanine. A crowd was around. These people were performing. I walked past them, went downstairs, and while I was on the platform, these two white men were running towards me. One of them had on jeans, white t-shirt. The t-shirt was rolled up at the sleeves, and I looked at him and said, "This guy is an undercover cop." So I looked behind me to see who they were running towards because I didn't want to be caught in the middle of a crossfire or something like that. And then things got surreal. Things slowed down in slow motion. I looked behind me and saw that my hands were being cuffed behind my back. And they took me upstairs, searched me, disheveled my clothes. My pants was twisted one way, my shirt was twisted the other way, and walked me to the car. The car was at the end of the block. The block was 34th Street, the block that Macy's is on, which just happened to be one of the most crowded blocks in the world and one of the longest blocks in the world. And I just had this thought that at the end of the block, my mom would turn the corner and see her son in cuffs. And they took me to the station and eventually told me that the charge was attempted grand larceny. And their story was that I went into a woman's Macy's shopping bag and took out diamonds. And it's attempted because when they were running towards me, I threw the diamonds away on the track. So I spent a year just defending myself. Instead of thinking about college, my first year of college, I had to be thinking about the possibility that I would spend decades in jail. I really thought about the possibility of starting a prison ministry in jail because I had just become a disciple. And, um, you know, in a few months later, after everything got dismissed, because it did get dismissed, um, I was watching the news, and the news was saying that there were uh, transit cops who were randomly arresting young black males in order to meet an arrest quota so that they could get promoted. Um, and there was a class action suit. There were a number of black males that had experienced something similar to what I experienced. So, what helped me? Two things. One is that there was a disciple who was white, who had studied the Bible with me, and who had become a very good friend, who was very supportive of me. The second thing that happened was that there was another disciple. He was a lawyer. He didn't know me, I didn't know him, but he defended me for free. That is, he waived his fee just because I was a disciple. And he still had to charge me the money that he paid for his assistants to do research and things like that. And so it was still a little bit expensive, but it would have been a lot more expensive if he had to charge his fee. Um, so that moved me. This was a white brother who was a lawyer, and that really touched my heart. Um, so fast forward a few years, I'm jogging to the park, and my bag is over my back, and this car, unmarked car, screeched in front of me, brakes screaming. Two cops jumped out and searched me, asked me where I was going. When they jumped out, they had their hands on their guns, And for a moment there, I was very scared. I thought of the possibility of being shot. Eventually, they let me go, and I went on my way. But these three incidents are three things that stand as examples to me that racism has existed and still does exist in this country. And the two things, again, that helped me was one, having disciples in my corner, supportive of me, um, who who were white, and secondly, praying to God for my heart not to be embittered. And I think God has answered that prayer. One thing that didn't help was just when I did tell a leader about the situation with being arrested, they were suspicious of me, and I think were wondering what did I really do, and that hurt. And I think it came out of a thinking at the time that if an authority figure said something about you, that authority figure must have been right and you must have done something wrong. And that's one of the things that I hope and pray that we repent of as a church. Thank you.